to IPH History News. Read the Eye on the News for Friday, June 24, 2022.
And for tonight, we'll bring to you the insights for this week.
For the headlines.
Typhoon Haiyan, or also known as Typhoon Yolanda, history in the Philippines.
Typhoon Yolanda's wind speed.
Typhoon Yolanda's affected areas.
The impact and damage of Typhoon Yolanda.
Typhoon Yolanda's fatalities.
Typhoon Yolanda's casualties.
And lastly, the government's help and action on Typhoon Yolanda's impact and damages.
To give you the news on the Typhoon Yolanda's history in the Philippines, here is Miss Mariano reporting.
Thank you, Janelle. The Joint Typhoon Learning Center upgraded Haiyan as Super Typhoon on November 6, 2013 as a result of expanding and deepening clouds cover a clear eye visible on satellites. According to the Pag-asa, the strongest tropical cyclone to make landfall in recorded history was Typhoon Haiyan, officially known as Super Typhoon Yolanda, was the fourth strongest tropical cyclone to hit the Philippines since 1950. This typhoon was the 24th to reach the Philippine area of responsibility, made landfall in the Philippines on November 8, 2013. First at Giyan in eastern Samar at 4:40 a.m., then at Tulusa in Leyte at 7 a.m., then Daan Bantayan in Cebu at 9:40 a.m. before moving to Bantaan Island in Cebu at 10:40 a.m. and finally at Concepcion in Iloilo at 12 p.m. This is Diana Jean Maldonado, IPH News Report. Back to you, Janelle.
Thank you, and now let's hear further about the Super Typhoon Yolanda's wind speed. Reporter Wanan, take it away.
Thank you, Janelle. Super Typhoon Yolanda wind speed has a massive and highly destructive storm in the North Pacific Ocean that affected Palau, the Philippines, Vietnam, and China during early November 2013. The tropical cyclone produced high winds, coastal storm surge, heavy rains, and flooding in the land areas over which it passed. Yolanda made landfall in the Philippines at the city of Guian on the island of Samar at 4:14 a.m. local time on November 8. The storm atmospheric pressure at that point was measured at 895 millibars and it has a maximum sustained winds of 195 miles, 314 km per hour, the highest wind speed ever at landfall. By 8 a.m. local time, Typhoon Yolanda had reached the city of Tacloban on the island of Leyte, with wind in excess of 185 miles, 298 km per hour, Super Typhoon maximum wind speed exceeding 220 km per hour or more than 120 knots. Back to studio.
As Typhoon Yolanda landed on the Philippine area of responsibility on November 8, 2013, it was considered as the most powerful tropical cyclones ever recorded. Ms. Madridano gave us some insights about the specific affected areas.
Thank you, Jackie. The provinces that were affected by Typhoon Yolanda on November 8, 2013 included Eastern Samar, Western Samar, Leyte, Southern Leyte, Cebu, Iloilo, Capiz, Aklan, and Palawan, as well as the provinces that were affected by the Visayas earthquake on November 15, 2013 included Bohol and Cebu. This is Diana Jean Madridano, IPH News Report. Back to you, Jackie.
In relation to our earlier reports, let's hear Ms. Alagon for more details in regards of Yolanda's impact and damages.
On November 7, 2013, Typhoon Yolanda hit the Philippines with gusts of up to 235 miles per hour. While the Philippines is no stranger to the power of tropical storms, it was not prepared for the devastating effects of Typhoon Yolanda, which was one of the strongest storms ever recorded. The fact that the Philippines is comprised of over 7,000 islands leaves the country particularly vulnerable to strong winds and storm surges. In the Philippines, a vast number of inhabitants live in areas with poor infrastructure and housing, which made Typhoon Yolanda especially dangerous. The typhoon's fury affected more than 14 million people across 44 provinces, displacing 4.1 million people, killing more than 6,000 people, and leaving 1,800 missing. In addition, Typhoon Yolanda damaged 1.1 million houses, destroyed 33 million coconut trees, and disrupted the livelihoods of 5.9 million workers. Overall damage is estimated at $5.8 billion. Many families lost everything during Typhoon Yolanda and were left struggling once the storm was over. The lack of options for transitional and permanent housing prolonged the displacement for many families, many of which are still trying to recover. This is Jane Alagon. Back to studio.
Thank you, Ms. Alagon. In continuation, Ms. Pacolanang will give us more information about the records of fatalities in her said typhoon.
Good day, this is Cesar Jane D. Pacalanang, and this is the fatalities caused by Typhoon Yolanda. Super Typhoon Yolanda made landfall in the Philippines on November 8, 2013 as a Category of 5 storm. It laid waste to the Visayas group of islands, the country's central region, and home to 17 people. Yolanda was the most powerful storm in 2013 and one of the most powerful typhoons of all time, with wind speed sustained at more than 150 meters per hour. Local officials estimated that Tacloban City on the island of Leyte was 90% destroyed. The typhoon's fury affected more than 14 people and across 44 provinces, displacing 4.1 million people, killing more than 6,000 people and leaving 1,800 missing.
Thank you, Ms. Pacolanang. Next is Ms. Floremy B. Jumabok, bringing you the hottest updates with her brief description about the Typhoon Yolanda's casualties.
Typhoon Yolanda is the strongest typhoon in the world Philippines and wreaked havoc to 175 cities and towns in 14 provinces in 6 regions. The disaster killed more than 6,000 people. Super Typhoon Haiyan, or locally known as Typhoon Yolanda, entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR on November 6, 2013 and created new history of the Philippines. It affected a total of 3,424,593 families or 16,078,181 persons, killing 6,318 persons and 28,689 were injured and 1,061 were still missing.
And down to the last report. Let's hear Ms. Santiago for the government help and action.
Thank you, Danles. Government help and action to the Bagyong Yolanda survivors. Typhoon Yolanda survivors from Tacloban received 5,000 cash. Around 213 Typhoon Yolanda survivors received their 5,000 financial assistance from the Office of the President today. The cash assistance was distributed by Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD. DSWD OIC Undersecretary for Operations Protective Services Hope B. Hervilia witnessed the distribution on behalf of DSWD Secretary Judy Tagoywalo. On the third-year commemoration of Typhoon Yolanda, President Duterte vowed to provide cash assistance to Typhoon Yolanda survivors who were not included in the list of beneficiaries of the Emergency Shelter Assistance or ESSA. They raised their issue with Secretary Tagualo, who subsequently relayed their appeals for help to President Duterte. OIC Yusik Herbilia lauded those who stood up and fought for their rights. She emphasized that the government cannot give the 10,000 pesos partially damaged houses and 30,000 totally damaged of houses since these are not included in the government's budget for this year.
I am Janiel Kaduldulan.
I'm Daniel Chloe Matubak.
And I am Jacqueline B. Jaime reporting,
This is IPH News.
bringing you the latest and hottest news.
News without bias.
News without exemption.
Including nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
And see you for tomorrow's updates.